We want to welcome you to this first class in a new series. Um, Thank you for braving the storm. Yeah, it was it's kind of dark out there and a little bit rainy, but we hope to make this worth your time. We're gonna try to keep it upbeat and keep you interested, and we're interested in your questions. But before we get into what we're going to be talking a lot about, uh, one of the reasons that you're here is you probably have some personal problem, or you know somebody who has a problem, diabetes or overweight or heart trouble or whatever it might be. And you're trying to look at what is the actual best way or best decision making I can do to improve my personal health or those around me. And we're here to share resources with you. We're not here to tell you what to do. Um, we're here to share the resources. Sometimes it sounds like we're telling you what to do because we're so passionate that it helped us so much. It makes it appear as though we're policemen, but we're not. We don't give tickets. We don't judge anybody here. We're just doing this as a give back to the community to improve the health of our community. What's that? Yeah, so we want to announce where the restrooms are and all the other kind of things. And since this is Scott's venue, fortunately, he was able to secure this for us. I'm going to let him take over. And sometimes we think of ourselves as partners in crime, although we have a whole bunch more people who are part of Eugene Plant-Based Providers, which he'll probably tell you about also.
Yes, my name's Scott Wagnon. I'm a PA, physician associate. So each of us will tell our own stories before we do the presentation. I just wanted to welcome you to the church here. So my mom and my sister go here, so it's a free place for us to hold the classes. And so is anyone here for the very first time? You guys? Oh, great. And so yeah, restrooms in the back. We have a lending library back there. You can check out books for up to 30 days. We have also the class schedules are back there, and then a basic handout on what lifestyle medicine is, which we're going to talk to you guys about today. And then just always when we do these classes, this is the first of the 12 in the series, have different topics each time, is to make sure before you make any diet or lifestyle changes, be in contact with your medical provider, because sometimes people's blood pressures can drop too low and they have to have their blood pressure medications reduced or eliminated. Diabetes medication sometimes because your blood sugars drop too low. So food is medicine, so it can really be powerful. So definitely be in contact with your medical provider. And then there's some other, so Eugene Plant-Based Providers is a 501c3 nonprofit that supports this program called Live Lifestyle Medicine. And so if you're new to it as well, you can sign up for the newsletter. There's cards back there for the website, livelifestylemedicine.com. And you can get a weekly update. We do a monthly newsletter as well. And on that, it shows you how, like all the other activities that are going on. So it's class every week, but we also do cooking demonstrations, cooking classes. We have walks we do every month. We do movie nights, we do potlucks. So we're trying to create community, not just, teach you, just feed you information. We want to bring everybody together and so to support everybody. So I just wanted to mention all that. And yeah, that's the basic housekeeping, and then you can take it.
Yeah, we're going to keep bouncing back and forth here a little bit, try to keep you all on your toes. We'll be on our toes. So I want to play a video for you. Yeah, go ahead, Debbie. Oh, we want to introduce some of the people as part of the Eugene Plant-Based Providers. It's a group that formed in order to promote plant-based nutrition, but also to promote the latest medical specialty, which is lifestyle medicine. It deals with 6 pillars. The 6 pillars are what we eat, how we move, the chemicals we choose, how we deal with stress, social connection, and sleep. That was one I didn't really spend too much time with in the past until I started studying for my boards. And so there's more than just Scott and myself who are teaching these classes. And there's a number of other members in the community or part of Eugene Plant-Based Providers who you will be hearing from as time goes on. And so I want them to have an opportunity to introduce themselves, the ones who have made it here. So maybe Debbie, you could come up first. And then, you can just share what's going on.
So before I introduce myself, I want to just say something more about Charlie. So I listen to podcasts often, and I have certain podcasts that I listen to. So 2 mornings ago, I get up and I'm looking at my podcast feed, and I see one of my podcasts is Next Gen LM. So it's next generation lifestyle medicine, people who are training to be doctors now, and they want to be certified in lifestyle medicine and besides whatever other specialty they're in. And so I see Charlie's face, and he was interviewed on Next Gen LM, which is a national podcast. And so I listened to 47 minutes of what I can't remember the word I want to say, but it's totally Charlie, which is passionate, enthusiastic, and humility, which he hasn't always had. And he's kind of, it's just so much fun to listen to his story and Scott's story too. I mean, all of us have experienced a lot of really motivating stories from other people. So anyway, if you want to listen to Next Gen LM, the latest episode is Charlie Leading by Living It, how Dr. Charlie Ross transformed his life and his patients' lives. So really great episode. And then I'm Debbie. I'm a nurse in town. I'm 68 and I became a nurse at 55. And as part of my home health training, and I never thought I would be a nurse. I had no interest in that. I thought I was an English person. Anyway, I became a nurse and I was doing home health, and they had us watch a couple of documentaries. And overnight, it had nothing to do with people's health at that time. It was about our food system and our farmed animal system, our agricultural system. And I watched that movie and cried through that documentary, and I never looked back. I just started eating only plants but then I met Scott. I wrote Scott, I needed a new PCP, and can I come to you? And do you have any professional organizations around that are into what I'm into? And he said, as a matter of fact, yes. And so he was already on his way to starting Eugene Plant-Based Providers with Charlie, and I joined that 3 years ago, and we've been doing what we consider really joyful work. And so now for me, it's all about human health and the animals and the planet. And so that's why I'm here. And I definitely got better from my own conditions by doing this. And so, and I don't care where you are. It doesn't, well, yeah, look here.
Yeah, give it two.
And we're talking into this microphone, not, did you already say that?
We did.
Yeah, so it's for the Zoom participants. It's not microphone for us. So.
We just have to talk loud.
Yeah. And this,
Yeah, I think everybody can hear me here. I'm Pam Burrell, and I am a PhD psychologist, retired university professor, and retired therapist. And you'll hear my story when I give my talk later, 4 weeks or so. But I've been plant-based for 16 years, 17 years. I'm 79 now, and I'm a yoga teacher, and I work at a farm sanctuary, and I can't imagine not being plant-based. And how I got involved with this group is a couple of years ago, I went to a talk specifically to network, because I had retired. Anybody else here retired, you know, there's this period of time which is, what? What am I gonna do with my life? So I went to a talk and I met Debbie. And that's how I got involved with this group. And I tease these guys because they each teach one of the pillars, and I teach three of them. I teach the stress, of course, that's good for a psychologist, sleep, and not only social connection, but social, spiritual, and all kinds of connection, and how that's so important for our health. And I'm looking for feedback. I'm easily bored. I easily bore myself, so I'm not going to be giving the same talk that I often give. So if people have a particular interest in hearing me talk about depression or anxiety or trauma or something like that, please let me know, because I'm thinking of changing up my talk. So, oh, not totally. I'll still do the basic stuff. Elizabeth, yeah,
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Maxwell. I think I'm the last one here tonight, and I'm the closer on the talks. I don't know if we did that on purpose, but I think I close us out usually. So you won't see me again. Well, you'll see me, but not talking up here until January-ish, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, so I do risky substances, one of the other pillars, and my daytime work, I work for Lane County Public Health, and I manage all the prevention areas, so tobacco prevention, suicide prevention, illicit substances, things like that. And so that's kind of what makes me qualified. And then I've been plant-based. I've been a vegetarian since I was in high school, and you'll hear like Pam said, we'll tell our stories when we give our talks, but I've been plant-based for a couple years, and I've also experienced some of the health benefits. And so I'm trying to convey it to my friends and family, and have had some success there. So, yeah. Hand it back to Charlotte.
Right. And so you're also going to hear from other people. You're going to hear from other people. One of them is cardiologist Kristen Linsmeyer. You're going to hear from pediatrician Dr. Colgrove. And what you're going to be most interested in is, how do I cook? So we have our chef extraordinaire, and we're going to have you come up and say a word or two to the group. She does her classes, which we highly support.
Hello, I'm Tamara Wilhite. So I'll be doing the cooking demonstration and sharing my whole story of recovering from a serious eye disease when I do the cooking demonstration. And my goal is to meet you where you're at in cooking and help you to incorporate more grains, legumes, fresh veggies and fruit, and then make it easy and delicious. That's my job.
It's fun. Classes are so much fun with camera.
Classes are so much fun.
Lots of great reviews on the classes. And then, of course, these classes wouldn't be both in person and online if we didn't have Edward. So we want to thank you for making that happen, because modern technology can just drive us nuts when it doesn't work, and you've been a lifesaver, so we're very appreciative to you. We missed anybody?
Were we going to try to see if Eric wanted to say a word he's on Zoom?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Besides Eric?
Can you hear me or not? Hello? Hello, testing.
Dark and stormy.
Wet night.
Hello?
So if Eric
Hello,
wants to
hello?
talk, Ed will have to turn off my microphone, and then we'll be able to hear the people in Zoom.
Hello? Testing. Let me know when you can hear me. Oh, you can hear me? Okay. Yeah, hi. My name is Eric Colgrove. Good evening. Good to see everyone there in the dark and cold. I chose not to brave it. I just came the opposite way from Springfield to Eugene back home, and it was just too nasty. So I ended up staying in, and I thought I'd just try this online. Hope you can hear me okay. but just as a pediatrician, I have the privilege of caring for really the youngest members of our community that are going to make up our future adults and families and so really what I what I'm so excited about is being able to sort of work on that foundation that, you know, when you normalize healthy eating and healthy movement and healthy moods and healthy sleep, all that acts as a normalized framework for developing a healthy life. And it's just amazing to think that these kids will grow up totally differently than how you know, the vast majority of people who are dealing with chronic diseases and ultimately death, they won't have to deal with that. So um, I'm just really excited about seeing these young kids thrive, you know, preventing disease really right at its root, and that's what gets me jazzed. So I came into lifestyle medicine about 4.5 years ago when um, I found out that where I was working at Oregon Medical Group at the time, there was a class being offered by Charlie and Scott. Charlie wasn't working there, but Scott was, and so I learned that because he was advertising through OMG that they were doing a class on food as medicine, and I thought, well, that's right up my alley. I got to check that out because when I was in medical school, there was no instruction on nutrition whatsoever, and I was just totally flabbergasted that my patients would know more than I would about one of the most important things about health. And because I would learn zero in medical school, I said, well, I guess I'll just have to teach myself a little bit about lifestyle medicine, about nutrition is really what I was really interested at the time. And and so I finished medical school, but got very busy with residency and then with life. And I ended up not doing it for over 20 years until this class came up. And this class has really transformed personally and professionally how I look at health. I love it. So it added so much life to my view of medicine and of to pediatrics. And I was at a point before, at some point in my career, where I was kind of burnt out, and this kind of really refreshed it. And I'm so excited about it now because I can I now preach this way of living to kids all the time, and talk to their parents and families about how this is a family thing about it's not just treating the individual child. It's really about how do we as a family walk through life, and so I'm inspired and feel lucky by by being able to do this work, and I love it. So anyways, that's my story, and I'll be talking right before Christmas. I'll be doing a talk. Actually, well, not even doing a talk, doing a panel of people talking about parenting and developing healthy families. So that's what we'll be doing. It'll be a panel of, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 or 7 people. So thank you.
Okay, so I'm back on. Okay, great. And I'll just give my quick story before I turn it over to Charlie, unless you had something else before I did that. Before I do my story. I'll talk about that after.
Well, after?
Yeah, just real quick. So I've been a physician associate for 20 years now, and my story started back in 2012. So I used to be a professional bicycle racer, so I was always really physically fit and everything, and I wasn't racing anymore into my 30s and 40s. I was doing a lot of long distance cycling. So in fact, in 2012, I had ridden my bicycle 7,000 miles that year. And despite that, I was overweight. I had high cholesterol, high blood pressure, pre-diabetes on my blood work, heartburn, irritable bowel syndrome. So I had a lot of health problems. I wasn't on any medications yet, but that's where I was, even though I was riding my bike 7,000 miles a year. So then I knew, okay, well, it's got to be the food then, because I was sleeping well. The other pillars of lifestyle medicine, which they're kind of summarized here on our sign, were in good shape, but obviously I didn't have the food right. So then that prompted me to start studying about nutrition. I got some academic level textbooks on nutrition, and eventually found lifestyle medicine. But so I was essentially my own first patient, and had already been taking care of patients for a long time. And one of the things about being a medical provider is you kind of see your own future through your patients. So I knew I wasn't on medication yet, but I knew I was going to have diabetes, high risk for heart attacks and strokes. Just knew that was going to be down my road if I didn't do something different. And so that's what motivated me. And then, so after, I didn't, like, you'll hear Charlie's story, he kind of went all in. I kind of transitioned slowly over time. I went, okay, so the science really supports eating a mostly whole food plant-based diet. I wasn't interested in being vegan or vegetarian or anything at the time. I just no, I just need to eat more fruits, vegetables, beans, intact whole grains, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices, and try to really reduce the animal products, the meat, the dairy, the eggs, the oils, the processed junk. So I started kind of just transitioning. And after a year of doing that, I dropped 47 pounds, dropped my cholesterol 100 points, my A1C, my prediabetes went away, my heartburn went away, my irritable bowel went away, and I was only riding like 2 to 3,000 miles a year on my bike, and that's kind of where I've been ever since. So even with less exercise, I got my health back because I got the food right. And so then I started applying it to my patients, and that really emboldened me because I had patients that were making changes more rapidly than I was, and that's where I saw the power of it. Like, oh my gosh, I got to take you off your blood pressure meds and your insulin and your other diabetes medications because your low, your numbers are getting too low. And I'd see how the power of it, and then eventually found lifestyle medicine, American College of Lifestyle Medicine. And I got board certified in that, and so just to have some credibility behind it, not just my own reading and study. And so now I have that part of it, and then started teaching classes. Charlie and I met and started teaching classes here back in 2018. I was teaching classes here for 2 years before the pandemic, and then when the pandemic hit, then Charlie and I started doing online classes every Tuesday, and we have ever since. And then just in the last couple of years here, we started doing back in person again and online. So so that's kind of the shorter version of my story, but I just wanted to let you know, because I think when I go to these big conferences, like there's one, the American College of Lifestyle Medicine conference is coming up in a couple weeks in Dallas, Texas, and there'll be like 5,000 people there, and it's mostly medical providers. And one thing you learn is that from going to all these conferences over the years I have is the providers that are doing this board certification lifestyle medicine and teaching it to their patients, they got into it either through a patient that they had, like kind of like I did, where, wow, look at that, what are you doing? Or they had their own health problems like me, and basically, wow, this has really helped me, so I got to help my patients with this. And yeah, I know for a fact 20 years of medicine, there's no way I'd be in medicine anymore if it wasn't for lifestyle medicine, because you can actually make your patients well. Instead of just treating symptoms with medications, you're actually getting at the root cause of these conditions, these chronic diseases. So it's really invigorating. And and Charlie will talk about it too, that I never get a hug from a patient writing a prescription. Here's a statin, here's another blood pressure. Sorry, I got to add another blood pressure pill. There's never any gratitude for that. It's just, but when you take someone off of medication, or you see they feel so much better, and you're actually giving them their health, you're actually showing them the path to get. It's basically you're empowering your own person to take control of their health, and instead of just oh, I'll take this next pill and pill for every ill and all this kind of stuff. So it's really saved just like Eric was saying, the pediatrician, it's really saved my career as well, just being able to help people. And then doing these classes is really important to me, and bringing on that community like I was talking about earlier. But yeah, I'll turn it over to Charlie to tell his story, and then yeah, I can talk about.
Yeah. So I want to play the video next because I just want to kind of break up our talk a little bit. So if you want to do the next slide, it should be a black screen. The wonders of modern technology. There's the black screen. So we need to get a little sound. Turn off the mic here.
What will your last 10 years look like? Will you be quick enough for a game of tag with your grandchild? Strong enough to embrace every moment? Will you grow old with vitality? Or get old with disease? It's time to decide. The average Canadian will spend their last 10 years in sickness. Change your future at makehealthlast.ca.
So it's not just the average Canadian. It's the average of those of us who live in the United States and even around the world to a good degree. I wanted to make sure that you see this video because a number of people over the last number of years that I've been teaching courses, classes, have said this was one of the videos that helped them make the decision that they were going to do something different from their life, with their life. And part of what we're going to be discussing today is that you can make changes. It will make a difference with your overall health. So let's go ahead and get to the next slide. And I'm going to give this back to Scott, who's going to carry on for a bit.
So this is my wonderful artwork. It's basically just a picture presentation or depiction of that video you watch. So we have health on the y-axis. So the higher up the y-axis, the better the health, and then the lower the health. And then time is on the x-axis going forward. So when we're born, we're essentially up there by the E of health. So we're just born, we have good health, and then time goes off to the right. And so the normal human condition. So if you actually study like anthropology and things like what's the normal life, what's expected as a human, and it actually should be that flat line up there. So you should have the same health you had when you're a child, and then at some point, wherever that is, where that's actually somewhere between 95 and 120 is actually, there's actually a formula. It's like 7 times puberty is for every mammal. They live 7 times puberty. So the age of puberty times 7, that's how long you're supposed to live. And so that's what it should be. 95 to 120 is what the human should live. And you should have the same health even at 110 or 120 that you had, maybe not quite as moving quite as fast and things like that, but you shouldn't, have cancer, heart disease, diabetes. You shouldn't have chronic illness. You should just basically, you worked out in the field, you're doing your thing, you went to bed that night and you just didn't wake up. That's normal. That's actually a normal human life that was supposed to be. But what actually starts happening, whether that's 10 years before you die or 20 years before you die, 5 years before you die, is you see that down sloping curve, right? So that's that's what people are experiencing these days, and especially in westernized countries, there are people, like us, they actually start to decline. So you have, arthritis, you heart disease and diabetes and cancers and strokes and just, heart failure, all the things that start to accumulate, and your quality of life starts to go down. And so you're on a bag of pills, and maybe you're not doing the things that you wanted to do. So maybe you wanted to travel, you wanted to do XYZ, play with your kids and your grandkids and all these things that what could happen more easily if you're on the flat curve on the top. But what's happening in our society is we're getting that decline. And because I've had patients many times say, Scott, I don't care if I end up dying, 5-6 years earlier than I would have otherwise, then fine. I made those choices. That's the way I want to eat, how I want to live my life. Well, that's fair to say that, because you see the X there and the X to the right. Maybe that's only a couple years difference, or maybe 5 years difference. And because of medications and modern medicine, we can usually extend that X. We can extend the life a little bit longer, but it doesn't really do anything for that downslope. The downslope still occurs. And so it's just kind of what kind of life do you want to have? And then you also have to think about your family, the impact on your family and your other loved ones, and impact on society economically, and all the different things. So really we have to think more than just ourselves. We have to think about our friends, our family, our society, the impact that our choices have on that downsloping line. And it's so I know it's kind of depressing, but I'll give you a fun story. So I had actually had a patient that had this slide and was taking the classes and was one of my patients, and was really improving her health. And she sent me a picture of this, and she had a little stick figure, and it was her hands pushing up the downslope. She goes, "Look, Scott, I'm squaring the curve." So we call that squaring the curve. That's what our goal is to square that curve and not have that downslope. And we want to maintain our health for as long as we can. So I just wanted to give you that other kind of description of this when it comes to that. The video is obviously the more impactful view of that downslope, but so we want everyone to have the best health that they can for as long as they can. So, yeah.
Next slide. There probably is not one person in this room who has not been confused at one time or another with the information that you've received. What is healthy? What are healthy eating choices? We hear it all the time. Go ask your doctor. Your doctor has had very little to no training in what is healthy nutrition. So be careful about the advice that you're taking when it comes to nutrition. There have been registered dietitians, the old group, who did not have much of an awareness of the benefits of whole food, plant-based lifestyle, and continued to promote some of the old style recommendations. So, and then you'll see different articles on, 1 month coconut oil is really healthy for you, and another month you'll find, hey, there's a lot of saturated fat in that. A lot of myths we live under. We used to believe, when I graduated almost a half a century ago as a doctor, I thought that genes determined our health, that your grandparents and parents, they have genes that you have inherited, and you're likely to develop heart disease or diabetes. Well, I've since learned that genetic tendencies contribute to 15 to 20% of your health, where about 80% of your health is determined by your lifestyle choices, the 6 pillars that we talked about. And so that the analogy goes something like this. You have a gun and you load the bullets in the gun, and each bullet, let's say one bullet's diabetes and one's heart disease and one's arthritis and osteoporosis and another's psoriasis. In order for those bullets to actually hit someone or kill someone in a gun, something has to happen. What is that? You have to pull the trigger. And it's the same way with your genes. In order to develop those for the majority of our population, you need to have lifestyle choices that pull the trigger, that sets the genes off, turns them on. But if you've turned the genes on with what your lifestyle choices have been to this point, you also can make different choices and turn those genes back off again, reversing diabetes, reversing heart disease. And by the way, there are 2 studies in the world literature that demonstrate reversal of heart disease. One of those studies is the reason that I'm standing here in front of you. It's documented in this book by Caldwell Esselstyn. It's called How to Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. It's one study where they took end-stage heart patients. They put them on a whole food plant-based diet. These end-stage heart patients kept having one heart attack or a bypass or a stent after another. They were on the maximal medical therapy at the Cleveland Clinic. 5 of them had been told, you better get your affairs in order. You're probably not going to live out the year. They were pretty bad end-of-life group. Dr. Esselstyn put these people on a whole food plant-based diet to eat nothing with a mother, nothing that had a face, no excessive fats, cutting down on even nuts and seeds and olives and avocado and olive oil that you think is so healthy for you right now, which you may learn is not so healthy for you. He put them on this and he met with them every 2 weeks to keep them on track because their culture was not encouraging this. What was their culture encouraging? The standard American diet. What's that? SAD. Standard American diet. It's sad. Well, I used to be the standard American doctor. SAD. Standard American doctor. Eating the standard American diet. When I heard about this study, that changed my life because those people who stayed on this, after 5 years, had no further heart attacks, bypasses, or stents. There was one guy at 6 years, he went back on his SAD diet and wound up with another bypass. He went back on Esselstyn's program. He luckily lived. And they all lived past 10 years, past 15 years, and most of them all lived past 20. My wife looked over at me when we heard about this study and said, do you think we should do this? Let's go to the next slide. And I'm sharing that story. What do you think my first thought was? There ain't no way. I am not doing this. There's nothing I want to do to change what I'm eating. I'm 66 years old 14 years ago. I thought to myself, what's the sense in living if you can't enjoy eating? I mean, I loved the foods that I ate. In fact, I loved them so much, I worked in the emergency department. I'd whip out my tongue blade, and I loved the brownies and the chocolate chips and the cupcakes and pies. And at night, every night, I'd have a couple tablespoons of ice cream. I couldn't go to bed without having a couple tablespoons of ice cream. Even if I'd eaten a big meal, I could eat more of something that was sweet, the meat-sweet diet. So I'm practicing medicine. I think I know what healthy eating is. Why did I think that? Because in the journals, what is it promoting? Promoting things like the zone diet, which is 40% of carbohydrates, 30% protein, 30% fat. This is what the medical profession thought was reasonably healthy at the time. And I thought that that was reasonable at the time. And so I didn't want to change. That was my basis for almost telling my wife, no, we're not doing this. I had already told my wife I wasn't going to do this a few years ago when she was in nursing school. She wanted to go more plant-based, and I said no. I was pretty stubborn. But I listened to this study, and I knew about Dean Ornish, the only other study in the world literature that demonstrates reversal of heart disease, unclogging the coronary arteries. We'll show you a picture in just a few moments. And I thought to myself, wait a second. A little voice on my shoulder said, "Hey, Charlie, you know, your wife's dad died of his first heart attack. He was in his 40s, early 40s. Your wife's mother and brother have both had their chest cracked for bypasses. And your wife is as old as they were when they had the procedure. And she's next in line. So you want to get a new wife?" And I thought for a moment. And I said, "No, I don't want to get a new wife. We've been married over 30 years. And so I thought, okay, I can compromise. I'll do this for 1 month. At the end of the month, what happened? My weight was down 10 pounds. I was never hungry for a day. Why was I not hungry? When you eat plant foods, what are the plant foods? They're legumes, beans, and lentils, chickpeas, split peas, legumes, 3 servings a day. Whole grains. You all probably like oatmeal or rice or quinoa or some kind of whole grain, buckwheat. 3 servings a day, half a cup. 4 servings of fruit. Who doesn't like fruit? There aren't a lot of people who eat a lot of fruit in our country. I think most people get maybe 1 serving, but 4 servings of fruit. 5 servings of vegetables. That's one that could be a little challenge for some people, especially the 3 servings of green. But that's what we went to. At the end of the month, that fills you up. And I was never hungry, and my weight came down 10 pounds. Several months later, how much was my weight? 35 pounds less. I felt so good. Wow, I'm pretty happy here. I'm going to keep doing this. What else? My cholesterol level. It was 240. I took statins. They gave me diarrhea so bad I had to change my clothes at work occasionally. I took niacin. It burned my head so bad with the burning and stinging that I swore I'd rather die early and young than to take that medicine. But when I changed what I was eating, my cholesterol went from 240 to 148. And then several months later, down to 135. Now, for those of you who know your cholesterol level, you knew I would have been happy enough to actually jump up and down. Like, wow, this is great. And it's fun to be able to jump up and down at age 77. This was 14 years ago that I made the decision to make this change. And by the way, my wife, who had this strong family history, she's now 76. Do you think she has any evidence of heart disease? The answer is no. I'm grateful every day that I made this change. Let's go to the next slide. I think it shows her. There's my lovely wife, and the reason why I'm standing here before you, talking to you about this. Next, we were in Italy there. Okay, Scott mentioned patients never gave a lot of positive feedback. You know, you get occasional thank you, doc, for delivering a baby or for setting a broken bone. Appreciate it. No major hugs out of that. But when I changed what I was eating and I started sharing this information with other people, I started getting things. I have to take the microphone down. Maybe I don't. This is old technology from 12, 14 years ago. What are these? Cards, letters. All of a sudden, I started getting thank you notes. And then the new technology. What's the modern technology? Emails. Yeah, you take an email and you print it out. There's quite a number of them that I've kept. I haven't actually printed them all out. What do these people say? Got off of my diabetic medicine. I got off of my cholesterol-lowering medicine. My kidney function has improved. I have less pain. My mood is improved. I'm like a snake oil salesman telling you about all the benefits these people had, but they're here documented. And it's so inspiring. And there were 3 people who told me my partner's erectile dysfunction improved. They were especially happy people. So with that information at hand, we set out on a course to change from emergency medicine, first family medicine, then emergency medicine. Family medicine first. Why? Taking care of the whole family is a wonderful thing
from kids, adults, pregnancies, but the chronic illness, oh, it killed me. I just would leave the office sometimes with people with their chronic aches and pains that I could do nothing about. They're overweight. The diabetes, which I was just managing and never curing anyone. It was so frustrating. I went into the acute care doing emergency medicine. That was fun. Shock a heart, sew up a laceration. But 80% of the people who walked through the doors, they had chronic illnesses. So after 30 years of doing that, that was starting to be burdensome because there were so many people who needed help. And I didn't have a way to do it until I changed what I was eating myself. Let's go to the next slide. Lifestyle medicine, we've talked about the 6 pillars. Next slide. Inflammation. One thing that we hope that you take away from this, these chronic illnesses are not just your genes. Only 15 to 20% are your genes. Inflammation is an important concept which leads to heart disease and diabetes and lung problems and thinning of your bones to osteopenia and osteoporosis and cancers and so many different illnesses, which is hard for you to see all these. But if you go online to livelifestylemedicine.com, you can see this lecture over again and you can expand it a little bit and maybe read through it. It'll be on there for you. Next slide. We don't want chronic inflammation. We want acute inflammation if we have a broken bone or we have a laceration. But when we keep hitting ourselves with a hammer, over time, you get not just scarring, but you can actually get promotion of chronic illnesses, diabetes and cancers and heart disease. And so what are the things that lead to chronic inflammation? Foods. You can see the various foods, the processed meats, the soda sugary drinks, cooking oils of all kinds, artificial sweeteners, dairy and eggs. Movement is important in this area. I'm kind of skimming through this pretty fast because this is an introduction. This is not, you need to take everything home and take notes and write this down immediately. You're on a journey here. We're trying to take you to a place like you're going on a vacation, not to the Galapagos Islands or to Maui, but to a place called health. That's where we'd like to take you. Consider us like travel agents, that we're sharing ideas of new foods, new activities that you may choose to engage in, a different tribe of support for your health. Movement is important. If you're sedentary, that leads to inflammation. Chemicals like smoking and drinking and lack of sleep, social support, and overwhelming stress can all lead to chronic inflammation. That's the pillars of lifestyle medicine. Let's go to the next slide. So the American Medical Association had a resolution for all hospitals. Let's go to the next slide. You can see what it says. In June of 2017, we're talking 8 years ago. 8 years ago, they said, look at the underlined here. All hospitals should be providing plant-based meals that are low in fat, sodium, and added sugars. Eliminate processed meats from the menus because processed meats are considered class 1 carcinogens. The evidence is such that they have been documented. The salami and the pepperoni and the sausage and the bacon and the ham that makes your mouth water, class 1 cancer promoting agents. Do we all know that? Probably not. Next. There are a number of organizations which promote more plant-based eating, not only for individual health, but for the sake of the environment. Next slide. The American College of Lifestyle Medicine, as we went over the 6 pillars, half of the medical schools in the United States now have lifestyle medicine interest groups. I resigned a year ago from a medical school in this state because they had a lifestyle medicine interest group, which was composed of about 10 students out of 100 for the first year and 100 for the second year, 100 for the third and fourth. Out of 400 students, they had maybe 20 interested people. And each year, less and less students were actually attending because they didn't get credit. So I said, you need to make this part of the curriculum. And the curriculum committee said, no, 5-0. We don't have time and it's not on the boards. I said, that's enough. I'm going to go out to the community and share this information with people who are interested in listening. But half the medical schools have an interest group at least. 3 years ago, there were 10 residencies that incorporated lifestyle medicine into their program. Now over 369, and probably even more because this was several months ago that I got this information. Next slide. Okay, next slide. We've talked about those 6 root causes. Go to the problem next. We live 4 years less in the United States than the nearest industrialized country to us, and we spend twice as much on our health care. There's a problem with our system. It's a sick care system. It's not a health care system. Sick care system compensates doctors for every visit when you're sick. A healthcare system would compensate doctors if you never had to go to the office to see them. It's a simple change. It's just that change is not promoted by the insurance companies, by the pharmaceutical companies, by the larger corporations that are providing our food sources. Next slide. 7 to 8 out of 10 people with chronic illness might not have to suffer from the chronic illnesses we talked about. We didn't mention GI issues, autoimmune disorders. Those are also helped or reversed or prevented. Next slide. So why is this happening? Because our foods have changed. Let's look at how our foods have changed. Next slide. If this doesn't impress you, I don't know what will. I've been looking at this slide for, I don't know, 12 years maybe now, and it still impresses me. Because in 1900, the average American was eating 5 pounds of sugar per year. By the year of 2010, the average American was eating 77 pounds of sugar per year. Now the average American is up to 90 to 100 pounds of sugar per year. Look at the average oils and fats from 4 pounds to 74. The cheese has gone from 2 pounds to 30, and I actually looked it up. This was 30 in 2010. This year it's up to 40 pounds of sugar or of cheese per person per year. It's no wonder we have a population that's overweight. Okay, let's go down to the fiber. The fiber content. The average American these days gets 14 grams of fiber per day. Our country recommends 25 to 30 grams a day, 35. What the countries that don't have diabetes and heart trouble and a lot of the chronic illnesses, what are they eating? They're eating what I'm eating. What am I eating? 60 to 70 to 80 grams of fiber a day, and some are eating, of these countries, eating 100 grams of fiber a day. How do you get that much? It sounds like a large amount, right? I just told you way back when. 3 servings of legumes, 3 servings of whole grains, 4 servings of fruit, 5 servings of vegetables, and maybe a 1/4 cup of nuts, and you're at 60 to 70 grams of fiber every day of your life. You are producing chemicals in your small and large intestine that cut down on inflammation, like butyrate. You're producing chemicals like serotonin because that fiber is the food for your microbiome. The science is totally amazing. And if you stick with coming to a few more of these classes, we'll share the resources with you, like nutritionfacts.org, the Physician Committee for Responsible Medicine, PCRM.org, Dr. McDougall's site. I don't know how many other sites there are, Forks Over Knives, and there's a lot of other resources that we can share with you, and you can learn the science on your own, and you know, it's up to you to make a decision as to what you choose to do. But I'd encourage you to maximize the amount of fiber, because for every 10 grams of fiber you add to your diet, you're going to reduce your heart attack risk by 10%, because it hooks on to the cholesterol and wheelbarrows it right out. That's the building block for the plaque in your arteries. For every 10 grams of fiber, you get 10% less colon cancer. Why do you get less colon cancer? Because again, it hooks up with the toxins in there and they don't lay against the wall in your intestine. So you reduce your colon cancer risk. This is so interesting. It's amazing. And when you learn the science, you say, why am I eating what I'm eating? Shouldn't I be eating foods that actually are going to promote my health? Next slide. We have a whole talk on fiber, so I'm not going to go over this. I kind of briefly reviewed that. Next slide. And now, many of you who are new are thinking, wait a second, how do I get enough fiber or protein? And we're here to bust that myth. If you take 500 calories of plant food and compare it to 500 calories of animal food, you're going to find you get no cholesterol in the plant food, you get very little fat in the plant food, but the protein, it's almost identical. You do not have to worry about getting enough protein. All plants have all the amino acids which will provide you with enough protein. You don't need a cow, a pig, a chicken as a middleman, which just has protein and fat and no fiber in any animal product. And you'll see that here. Dietary fiber, 0 in 500 calories of animal product, whereas you get about 30 grams in 500 calories of plant food. So you'll get plenty of fiber if you're eating just plants. And then look at the vitamins and minerals, how much more you get in plant food than animal. Next slide. I talked about this. Next slide. I was in Valley River. I saw this sign. I was at Halloween. I thought this was a joke. And then I walked around the mall. And next slide. There was a real toxic restaurant. I don't know if any of you have been there. The adolescents love to go there because the food is really hot and spicy. And my dad used to say, the truth is often said in jest. Well, here's the truth. Wings, burgers, and fries are toxic. Okay, next. Does it matter what you eat? And I'm going to tell you yes, and there's too much on here to go over now, but we'll go over it with time. Next slide, because we want to have time for your questions. Look at this closely. There's an artery on the right. It's listed under A. It's got a narrowing of that white component. Look at the B. Look how it's open. How do you think that was accomplished? It came from this book. That is a heart artery. Angiogram. They squirt dye into the coronary arteries. It's in this book. You can go to the page. I don't know. It's somewhere right in here. Okay? This is the blow up of the picture in here. How do you think that happened? Did they put a roto-rooter in there and roto-rooter it out? Did they put an artery in there and bypass it? No. Just change the diet. And that opened up in 34% approximately of the people in this study. Dean Ornish's study, where he put them on a plant-based diet and exercised them 3 times a week and put them in yoga and meditation and put them in group therapy to love more and hate less, those people had over 80% of them unclogged their coronary arteries like this. Totally amazing First two studies, only two studies in the world literature that demonstrate reversal of our number one killer. Why would you eat some other way like keto or paleo or grain brain or wheat belly? Why would you choose to do that when none of those ways of eating have ever been demonstrated to reverse heart disease? You would do it because of celebrities. We all like celebrities. You know, Kelly Clarkson comes to mind. You know, she demonstrated that. I think she did keto for a while, and then she did some other whatever it is. And now what's the latest? The GLP-1 is the latest. Well, you know, do you think that's the solution here? You know, we can make our own GLP-1. If we're eating plants, we stimulate our cells down in the lower part of the intestine. That's another lecture. Next patient, or not patient, but slide. The blue zones. You know, after doing this almost 50 years, old brains, 77-year-old brains sometimes get the words mixed up. So I am still human. It didn't clear out my brain completely. There are a few tangles in there, maybe cobwebs, something like that. Anyway, the blue zones. I love the blue zones. Why do I love the blue zones? Because there are 5 communities throughout the world, and now there's a 6th one. I think it's Singapore, has become a blue zone in the modern world, but in 15, 20 years ago, the blue zones were communities that lived the longest, into their 90s and 100s. They were out mowing their lawn and, you know, living full active lives. They had squared the curve, like Scott talked about. They were not dying of these chronic illnesses their last 10 years. And these are the places throughout the world. One of them is Loma Linda, California. And believe it or not, Roseburg has become a blue zone project in this country. That's an hour and 15 minutes south of here. So I started classes about 13 years ago in Roseburg, and those classes, you know, were continued on. And when the Blue Zone Project people came in, they said, well, you really look like you're interested in lifestyle. We see you've already started classes. We'll incorporate extra exercise and social connection and other things. And so they continue onward. Next slide. What do they have in common? Family, good support from family or a tribe. No smoking, plant-based diet. Notice that, plant-based diet. Legumes down at the bottom, that's plant-based diet. Constant moderate physical activity and social engagement. Let's go to the next slide. So there are resources available to you. The Live Lifestyle Medicine, nutritionfacts.org, pcrm.org. Next slide. I don't like to fight, but I sure wouldn't mind having bodies like these guys. And all they eat is plants. Next slide. Carl Lewis, he was a plant eater. Next slide. The Williams sisters and Djokovic, plant-based. Next slide. Football players, Tennessee Titans improved their team's ability and did better after going plant-based. Next slide. These guys look kind of anorexic. I'm not interested in looking like them, but I sure wouldn't mind have their health because these are ultra marathoners. Scott Jurek, the guy on the left, he holds the world record for miles run in 24 hours. Now, a marathon is 26.2 miles. He ran 167 miles in a 24-hour period of time, and all he eats is plants. He gets enough protein. Scott Rich Roll did Ironman, swimming and running and bicycling on 5 different Hawaiian islands. They're torture tests. He did them in 1 week, 5 different Ironmen, and all he eats is plants. He's got a great podcast. Next slide. I think we're done. going to go over and maybe see if you have some questions, answer them. I know you have some questions.
Yeah. So just introduction whirlwind of things, but do you have any questions from anything we've talked about so far? And then also if there's questions from the Zoom. And just, you have to take the Eugene plant-based provider website. It's not there anymore, so take that off your slide.
Oh, is it on?
It's on there, yeah. We just live lifestylemedicine.com that's the basic website for the classes. And if you're not familiar with that website, go to that. And on the homepage, you'll see a website tutorial about 2/3 of the way down. It's about 11-minute video of me just kind of giving a tour of how to sign up for the newsletter, how to navigate the site, because we record all the classes and post them there. So they're all archived, and then there's all kinds of other videos and other educational resources there. So we refer to the website a lot when we teach the classes. So
Could Ed put that up on the screen? And
hey, good. Yeah, if he wants to put the livelifestylemedicine.com website homepage up there, but yeah, questions, yeah.
A show on a Greek island. I think it was one of those blue zones.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they all had goats, so they made goat yogurt,
Yeah.
but they walked everywhere.
Yeah.
They're very, so I think that was part of it.
Yeah, so they lived their life from the time they were little kids, having some animal products, maybe 5%, maybe as much as 10%, but 90% of their diet is plant-based. And even though they may have some Greek yogurt, goat milk, or goat cheese, the vast majority of their diet is plant.
Yeah, so more Mediterranean style, which, Mediterranean diet is a good diet. It's just we could even do better. So it's kind of like he was saying, if you ate mostly 80 to 90% or so plant-based from the time you were a child, that's doing, and then had the other things, the physical activity, the social connection, all the other pillars that they really are good at in those blue zones, then you usually stay healthy. But the patients that we see and the people that mostly come to the classes and stuff are, already, like Charlie always says, 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot on the banana peel. And so when you already have a chronic illness, it takes more strict change to actually put it in reverse. Whereas if we'd eaten pretty healthy our entire lives, we probably wouldn't have got sick in the first place. So, but yeah, so most of those blue zones are not vegan. They're eating some animal products, just very small amounts. There is a subset, I think 10 or 20% of the Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California are vegan, and another 30 or 40% are vegetarian. And then the ones that are omnivores, eating some meat, they're only like 2 or 3 times a month. So it's a very small amount. And that's actually a really good study, the Adventist Health Study, Adventist 1 and 2, two different studies that have been ongoing down there in Loma Linda. And they're really great because you can really compare the diets because of their religion. They don't smoke, they exercise, they kind of treat the body as a temple. So a lot of the confounders that we get in different kinds of studies are already controlled for in that population. And then you can go, oh, only the ones that are vegan are actually normal weight. Even the ones that eat meat once or twice a month were actually on average overweight. And then you can see as you went more plant-based, you get less diabetes, less dementia, less heart disease. So you could see the health benefits as you move towards that end of the spectrum. And that's how we do teach it is in the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, which is what we're board certified with. They teach it as a spectrum also. It's not that you have to be 100% vegan from the get-go. It's just like the standard American diet is at this end of the spectrum, and 100% whole food plant-based diets at that end of the spectrum, which we know this end of the spectrum can reverse heart disease. So that's ultimately, if you have heart disease, where we would like you to get to if you want to reverse it. But anywhere on that spectrum is going to be, anywhere from here going this direction towards health is going to be beneficial. So don't let, perfection be the enemy of good. So it's just a good thing to ask about.
The site is up there too. Maybe show
Yeah.
them with a video, they might see.
Yeah, so if you scroll down, So that's all the different tabs, but if you scroll down, you'll see where the website tutorial is. And that's always a good place to start. I'll probably be recording a new one because I've made a few updates to the website since then. But then here's this week's class recording is there. The video's not popping up below there for some reason. It's there, but and then keep going down. Let's see. I guess scroll back up. I don't know why it's not showing oh, there it is, website tutorial. It's just not showing the little video on the website. It should be showing the little video. You just click it and it just starts playing. So for some reason it's way he's got it up there. It's not showing, but
I'm not sure why it's not on the videos.
yeah, that's okay. It'll be there on your computer at home and you just click it and watch the video. And then, yeah, you can subscribe to the updates and newsletter there. There's all the other tabs. So you can check that out. Just a good resource for you. Other questions you have? It's a lot to take. How'd you guys find out about the classes?
My doctor recommended that I take classes,
Oh, great.
but we also were active with, well, not active, but we took the classes. Yeah.
Oh, so you've been to the classes down there. Okay, great.
It would be nice to be part of a community.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Eating plant-based for quite a while, and I'll go out with my friends and stuff, and I'll say, oh, well, I'm eating plant-based, and they go, ew, I could never do that. And it's just a little frustrating to go out to eat and to know what to have.
Right, right.
Feel supported.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is why we like to hold lots of events and do lots of classes, just because then even if you've heard like, oh, I've taken that class before, but still come, because it's just a way to reinforce it and just be around other people that are trying to make the same changes as you are. Oh yeah. Do a little bit better. Yeah. All right. Well,
Scott, what's another website you were talking about?
which one?
PCRM.org.
Yeah, it was also pcrm.org.
Yeah.
That's another one.
While we're waiting, do you all have a smartphone? Do you have downloaded Daily Dozen on your smartphone? If you don't, bring it out. It's easy to do. You go to, all you do is you go to the App Store and you do a search for Daily Dozen. And you will find a green background with a white check mark. And download it. It takes about a minute to do. And that will give you some guidelines for various food choices. You don't have to follow it exactly, but it will help you in your transitioning. It'll say Dr. Gregor's Daily Dozen. It'll say Dr. Gregor's.
Okay, my options are versus Daily Dozen trivia.
No, it's Dr. Gregor's Daily Dozen.
Oh, Dr.
Get it?
Gregor.
Yeah, it's GREGER.
Did you see the?
I'll just type in Dr. Gregor.
You already have it. Yeah, you got it from the other class that you took. That's good.
I also have it on the website. It's like under apps to download is a under the resources tab. But so you got that's his books. So let's see. It's probably because she needs to go into the app store.
Yeah, the App Store is on,
Oh,
go to the, the home page where you're, like, you have all these apps, and go to the very first one, the App Store. There should be.
Or she can type it in there, app store. There. Oh no, she's in app store.
Does she?
Or no, search apps. Just type app.
App or Play Store, I'm not sure.
what? Dr. Gregor.
That's it. You get that. Okay?
Yeah.
And then you click on the little eye. So that you can get to the,
Do you have? Is this an iPhone or an Android?
okay, and so allow that. And just do the daily doesn't, right?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, unless you wanted the weight loss, then you can go to it later on. Okay, and so you click on the little eye, there's 3 servings of legumes. And the little eye will tell you the serving, and then if you scroll, you'll see the various options with videos, to do the different foods and that sort of thing. How easy is that? Hey, that could help you with your cooking class potentially too, huh? I share this with any person I come into contact with the first time. As sort of a start, and then I say, call me in a week after you've had a chance to play with it. If you have any questions, and by the way, we do free consults for anybody who is having a question or needs some help or is afraid to speak out in class. We don't charge anything. Okay, easy.
Yeah, that's that.
Any questions from the people on there? Any way to talk to them?
Not at the moment.
So, maybe I could talk to them. How would we do that? Oh, are they gone? Yeah, I see them all here, but there's no questions. But can they hear us at all here? Yeah. Okay, so if you can hear us, if you have any questions, now's the time. We got a couple more minutes. And the people who are online, if you have any questions or concerns, and remember, if you're a little embarrassed to speak out or ask a question, you can get in touch with us and we can do a one-on-one consult with you. Okay.
Oh, so I just really lost down every day. No, thanks. Oh. Daily does it.
They're good, you're good, you people are good. Next class is gonna be fun. Would it be more fun? I don't know. I guess we encourage you to come and see what it's like. Bring a friend with you.
Very inspired, so what are you?
Oh, that's what you want, you can check off.
One of the main reasons why we're doing it. That's, tell your friends, have them come, it's free. Costs nothing. It's odd in this world, yeah? But it is inspiring to us to see people when they make it.
They give you an idea of, it's a lot of food, so. Yeah.
Okay, so next week
Is a just meal preparation and planning, so there'll be a bunch of different speakers. I'll go over the website and show you all the different resources that are there for meal preparation and planning. And then I don't know if Tamara, you're gonna be here to help with that, or you can be here next week. Yeah, just kind of give some advice, and then if not, I have Sunshine's video, which is she has done a actual it also used to do cooking demonstrations for us. It has like a little 10-minute thing. I can show that, but if you have kind of the same kind of thing, different tips on meal preparation and planning things, and I think Debbie usually says a few things, and then yeah, it's just a lot of interaction and people can give ideas. That's next week, and then that's the other thing about having getting the updated newsletter every week, because you'll see the class schedule. Of course, the class schedules are printed back there, but it's also at the bottom of the homepage. You'll see the class schedule also, and then just by reading the newsletter every Sunday morning, I usually put the next like 3 classes there, and then there's always all kinds of other stuff going on. So check out the newsletter. I call it the update now, because it's every Sunday morning is the update, and then beginning of every month we have the newsletter, and we just started that back up the last couple of months, October, November. So, and those are on the website too, if you haven't signed up yet, so you don't have haven't received the newsletters, they're on the website. And I'll have you I'll record a new tutorial this weekend, so I
Okay.
can have it up to date.
That's great. So when you go sign up for this newsletter, you'll be able to keep track of the community walks, the potlucks, like Scott said, the different classes and whatever other activities, like coming up next May, Vegan Fest with Dr. Michael Clapper is going to be speaker. He's going to be there. So mark your calendar. It's May the 3rd and the 4th. He's going to be talking in South Eugene High School. Yeah, we're excited. Huh? We just found out today. Okay. So
Some people know him. He's an international speaker guy. He teaches like what I wished I would have learned in medical school about nutrition is kind of his thing.
he has a video on our website.
On the video section of the website has a talk there.
All right, hope we've kind of piqued your enthusiasm a little bit. And look forward to seeing you as time goes on. Thank you for coming, Scott, and everybody else.
We're coming out from the dark.
Yeah, it's braving the storm. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, yeah. Great.
I'm gonna go.
Here you go.
Some.
I just.
Being a calories and that, just exercise may take. Yeah. Yeah, well, definitely, time between full-time practice, Charlie's one that does like. Yeah. And I have a